Hi everyone and welcome back to Chess for Charity. In this video, I'm going to show you a really cool puzzle where it is white to play and win. So at first glance, it looks insane. White has all these pawns, but it's actually not as straightforward as you might think. So 7 pawns against 1, you're like, what's the problem? The problem is you're going to get mated if you're not careful with either the bishop or the pawn promoting to a queen. So take a moment, see if you can figure out the basic idea here. I doubt you'll go through all the moves, but see if you can find the basic idea of the win and maybe get a few moves deep in the puzzle. While you're thinking about that, let me quickly encourage you to like and subscribe. Half of the income that I earn in this channel goes directly to charity, so all of that stuff really helps us out a lot. Okay, let's get started here. So I've already mentioned that c1 queen is a pretty big threat. If you go ahead and make a nothing move, like promoting, they're going to mate you, so don't do that. Instead, we have to address this issue right away, which is to buy ourselves a move. And the way to do that is with the knight check. So which of these checks is winning, which one of them is losing? So this is a long puzzle, so if you want to pause it, feel free. Knight d5 is losing because it allows the king into d2, and now promotion is going to happen whether you like it or not. I can step up, but it's not enough, and this coordination on a3 is going to be pretty bad. Okay. So why is this bad? Because it lets the king into d2. Well, there's this other knight check, which doesn't let the king into d2. That's why knight e4 check is the better check. Now, you want to stay close to the pawn if you're black, so you can't go to any of these places anyway. So do you want to play king d4, king d3? Do you want to take the pawn? I think it's probably obvious that you want to stay connected to the pawn. If you want to run away from it, you can just attack this pawn. I don't care about this, right? That's not a problem. I have a pawn of my own. So keep that in mind. There are lines where you can try to fight a little bit if I play here and you play here, but the idea is fine. White is going to be safe because they have this square guarded. And I don't want to get too bogged down in the sidelines because there are so many. Okay, so the idea is stay attached to the pawn, play king d3. Okay, so now what do you do as white? This is still a threat, so you have to do something about it. It might be like a good idea to play king b2, you might think, but unfortunately it does not work because they can check you and they can promote this pawn, and then it'll be a draw by perpetual check. Again, I'm not going to go into that line really quickly. If you want, I can show the idea, but you pretty much, they're always scared of you promoting, so they're going to keep checking you in a bunch of lines everywhere, all over the place. So let's not get into that, but that's the idea. Okay, so they play king d3. What's your best move? You don't play king b2, although it looks appealing. Instead, you keep checking them. Knight c5 check. You might go, what's the idea? I told you I can't go to d2. Now I'm letting them into d2. Well, you might know where we're going next. We're going to try to cover all of the key points from b3. Okay, so what's the move for black? King c3. They want to stay connected. They want to stay right where they were. Well, let's go to b3 now, and let's guard against this promotion, and hopefully guard against the mate. Well, here's where the puzzle starts to heat up a little bit. First crazy move is bishop e5. They're threatening a lot of stuff here. Just to make sure it's clear what they're threatening, because this is going to be a central theme of the whole puzzle, what if I just promote here? What happens? Take a second. See if you can find the winning combination for black. Hopefully it's not too bad. They promote. Knight has to take. And you play king c2, discovered check, mate. Kind of a cool way to end it. White is up 18 points of material, but black wins. Sweet. So don't fall for that. Instead, recognize the threat. So we have to do something about this immediate promotion. Well, what do you do? In this position, there's only one move that fights against it. That move, f4. Pretty crazy move, just giving up a pawn. But what is the point behind this? Well, now, if this whole sequence plays out, promote, take, move, this is discovered check, but the thing checking me is under attack. I can just take it. There's no stalemate or anything. You're just up a lot of material. Okay. So what's the point of f4? That's the point. If they move, you take the thing that is attacking. So black wants to stay on this diagonal. Pretty clearly, if they walk away from this diagonal, where did they go, first of all? Go here, you're just going to promote. So what's the point? So where do they go? They have 4 options. One of them is very obviously bad, which is this one. You just take. Pop quiz, do you take with the bishop? Do you take with the knight? Well, taking with the knight would be really bad because you're giving up the thing that we watched over this whole time, which is the queen on c1. Instead, take with the bishop. It doesn't matter. From now on, you're good. Nothing holding this knight except for a nice win. So they have to go backwards. Let's talk about the probably obvious, but let's talk about it in case it's not obvious. If they go back, what do? Well, you promote. And now you're attacking the thing in case they move their king and it's a check. You're now attacking the thing that's attacking you. Just to make sure that's clear, I know that verbally that maybe didn't sound clear. If they do this whole sequence again, you're attacking the bishop. So they can't checkmate you because you're attacking their attacker. Okay, so they can't go here. You can't go here. There are 2 options. Let me ask you a question. Does this pattern look familiar at all? This pattern of the green squares? Well, yeah, it should. If they go back to one of these squares, and it's pretty much the same in both cases, you can now promote to a knight. That's the only way, in fact, to keep this game alive. And now, black can't go here. They can't go here. They're being attacked right now. They can't go here. We just established they couldn't go to h8, but the reason they couldn't go was because I'd promote to a queen and attack them. But there's no queen here now, so they have to go to h8. So just look at the complexity already. We're only 5 moves in, and this puzzle is insane. So what do you do now? It might not even be clear now. What do you do? Just to make sure I make a side note, you can't play a move like bishop d4, even though it looks appealing, to trade off, because if you trade off, this knight is giving up the crucial responsibility of c1, and you'll lose the game. So careful there. Instead, the move here is f5. What's the idea? The idea is that in the same dynamic of the bishop being opposite the king, if they promote, you can take it. They move, you now can interpose, and that pawn is defended by the knight. So this would be a win. There's no issue here. There's nothing going on that's scary. You just promote this pawn, not a problem. So they can't just go through that whole sequence. So I play f5. Great. What do they do now? Well, they're going to be shut off if they don't act quick. So they can't go to any of these squares, and they can't go here. Well, there's only one square then, which is e5. So they go back to e5. And this might be the moment where I was like, gosh, I have to make this video. This position, we've kind of exhausted all the resources now. We can't really interpose anymore. We can't use a knight to threaten this bishop. Just really quickly as a side note, my knights are on light squares. If I move them, they're going to be on dark squares. And a knight that's on a dark square will not be able to attack this bishop, because when you're on one square, you're going to be attacking the opposite color square. That's how knight moves work. Pretty cool. So we can't use the knights. We can't really do anything with the pawns. Can't move my king. What does that mean? Well, I just told you can't interpose with the bishop. There's one other bishop move. That bishop move is bishop h2. It's a great move. So what's the idea? Well, if they go through this whole thing again, which I'm not going to show again, they promote, you take it, king moves. Now I am attacking the thing that's checking me. So what do? They can't back up. They can't go to any of these squares. We just established why. If they go back to h8, you push the pawn. If they go to any of these other ones, you just take them. It might be worth explaining why you can't go here, because like we talked about, you can't take here. The easier explanation is just bishop f4. I'm now on this, so I'm attacking this. And like I said, there are so many complexities. It's insane. But I'll let you go down that road if you want to go down that road. Okay. The main line is they take the bishop. And now you have one moment to breathe on this diagonal. So what do you do in this one moment? If you're tempted to make a knight move, let's just look at one, just as an example. I'll play knight to f6. They play here, and you're in trouble because they're about to move their king. And you might think you're not in trouble because you can play a move like knight d7, attacking this. Well, now, knight d4 is kind of a killer. Sorry, bishop d4 is a killer because you can't take this because the knight is overloaded again. I'm saying the same stuff over and over again. Hopefully it's landing. This knight is pretty important for c1. Okay, so they just took the bishop. What do? You don't have any knight moves that are going to do anything. Now you got to start pushing that pawn. b7. Why? Well, it gets crazier. They get back on this diagonal. Let me ask you a question. What would you play in this position? Just take a moment. What would you play if you were white in this position? Well, it's kind of crazy. If you promote to a queen, what do? Do they take it? Is it going to be a win? A draw? Well, I'll tell you, it's a crazy draw. Here's why. They can play, other way around. They can play king c4, and after you take this thing that is attacking your king, they promote, and look at this. That is stalemate. I had it backwards there for a moment. So you can't promote to a queen, or else you'll draw the game. You will draw the game up 19 points of material, by the way, which is insane. So instead, what do? You have to promote to a bishop. Come on, this is ridiculous. So now this whole idea would not be stalemate. If they go through this whole sequence again, take, promote, do this, they have a square. They have more than one square. So you promote to a bishop. Already, hopefully you get the sense, this puzzle is ridiculous. So now you're pulling them away from this diagonal again. They have to take this. Now what do? Well, again, there are so many sidelines. One that caught my attention in this position is knight d6. The idea is blocking and then maybe trying to push. But it doesn't really work because you could take here and you're not fast enough because they can go like this and mate you that way. So there's this threat. There's also this threat. So lots of threats. What's the move? Well, the move here is surprising, I think. It's knight d7. Sorry, knight c7. Now, what's the idea again? Why am I bringing this up? Well, they take it. What's the idea? You push the pawn. You're saying, hey, I'm going to promote. If you get on this diagonal, you bought me a tempo. I'm going to promote to a queen or something and take it. Well, does that work? Kind of. If you promote to a queen, the whole sequence we just talked about a moment ago is true in this situation as well. This would be stalemate again. Similar colors, slightly different configuration. I think pretty much the same idea. Okay. So what do? You promote instead to a rook. This is ridiculous. And now it's like phase 3 of this puzzle. We have a rook and a few pawns. What do we do now? So let me ask you a question. If they play bishop d4, do you take it? Hopefully the answer is no, because you get the reason why it's not allowed. If you do this, you lose the game. You don't want to lose the game at this point. They can even promote to a rook, but that's not nice. So be nice. So what's the idea? Well, there are a lot of ways to play it. I think I'm just going to go with the computer line just to show the best resistance. Bishop f6 is what the computer shows, saying I'm staying opposite the king. All of these threats are still completely on. How do you defend? And I like this defense. The defense that the computer likes to go with is to pester this bishop. So that's rook e6, saying, hey, what are you going to do about this? If you go back like this, I'm going to push this pawn on you, and I'm going to lock you out. And that applies to both, of course. So just quickly to show that, what do you do now? They play here. Am I scared of that? Not really. Although I do want to show this other line. There's so many lines. I want to show this one. If they go here, The idea being maybe to go here and here. You play c5, shut them out. The only access to this b2 square comes from these blue arrows. You can't get to those blue arrows because everything's kind of in your way. You want to go back this way. I play c6. You can't go here. So hopefully you get the point. So many sidelines, so much fun. Okay. So what do they do after you play rook e6? They have a couple of places to go. I just mentioned they don't want to go back. They obviously don't want to get taken in the middle of the board. They have d4 as the last refuge here. They play bishop d4. Don't take it. We talked about this a moment ago. Instead, you play the very calm, very cool rook e1, saying all these threats are kind of not scary anymore. Because if you play this, well, first of all, I can take, and now this whole threat is gone. There's no stalemate either. Nothing crazy. So they're kind of out of ideas. After you play this rook e1 move, the best move from here, it's kind of all the same. They go back to f6. This move from white pretty much seals the game. It's such a cool move. I love the aesthetics of it. Rook b1. This looks absolutely insane. But why is this the best move? Well, it totally squashes everything that black has planned. Now they can move, and you just block with your rook. This is still defended, this c1 square by the knight. And black is out of ideas. They have absolutely nothing. They want to promote, I take it. So what's the problem? There's no problem. And I do want to show one more line because I think it's just amazing. If you start running the king around, not there, although that would kind of the same idea. You start running the king around, I start pushing this pawn just to show the craziness of it. Push and push. You can play promote here, here. I'm not getting mated. I have one move. Well, two moves really. A pawn move. And look at this. No mate. Look at the way it looks like you're tracking down one of the pawns. F6 distracts it. Look at this. One tempo short. This is just the kind of stuff that I was looking at in the sidelines. There are so many sidelines. So I know it's not like a half an hour video, hopefully. So I haven't looked at the time. Hopefully you get the picture that this is a very amazing, deep puzzle. So we're kind of at the end here. Let me go back, all the way back. Sorry about that. All the way back. Rook b1 kills everything. Nothing is really worth it anymore. Then go here, take. What's the issue? King here. This is a pretty flat out win. You just push the pawn. If you want to just see a couple of moves here from the computer, you just play king. You're up 3 pawns. You just got to get your king in the middle of the board, push the pawns, use that knight, use the tempo, and you'll be fine. Or use the tempi in this case. We have multiple tempo. And that's pretty much it. So that's the puzzle. I think I'll stop it there. I will just quickly show, I'll play the whole thing so you can see it. You check the king, keep the king close to the pawn, and you just start throwing everything at this bishop. You attack it with the knight, you block its path with the pawns, you throw the bishop, you promote, you throw another bishop in there because you can't promote to a queen. You just throw everything. You throw the knight. You promote to a rook because you don't want to stalemate them. Just the dynamics of this puzzle are incredible. Hopefully you enjoy it. Just if you've seen it before, just let me know that you've seen it because this is insane. But that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye.